Scream 2022. So pretty much this movie is just about this new character who's quote unquote the new Sidney Prescott. And we follow her along with other cast of characters who are getting killed by Ghostface. It's a simple premise. It's just a bunch of kids getting killed and gruesome deaths, and then you know how this goes. We already know. If you know Scream, you know how this is gonna go. The only mystery factor, the only element of surprise, the only real entertainment is the reveal at the end. That's always the case. Who is the killer? The who done it thing. You know, who is it? Why are they doing it? And then the kills. You know, the kills have to be, I wouldn't say like brutal or anything like that, because I feel like the original Scream, like with the scene with Drew Barrymore at the beginning, that's it. That's scary. That was a scary scene. It was impressive, and you're like, this is Drew Barrymore. You're not gonna kill her right away. And then they did it as a shock thing, and it worked. And then you see her hanging from a tree, her guts hanging out. All this. It was brutal. I think and then that garage kill with Tatum, who is played by Rose McGuinn. You know, her kill was kind of silly, but it was brutal. Like when you see her head get smashed into the garage and all. Like I think the first Scream was the most brutal out of all the Screams. The original Scream, 1996, was lightning in a bottle. You can't recapture that. They tried numerous times, and to me, it's like, yeah, these movies are entertaining, but it's the same thing over and over. The only mystery is like, who is the killer and why are they doing what they're doing? You know, give me a good reason.
Is that motive enough for you?
And with this movie, you know, we're treading the same ground. I was entertained throughout the whole thing. You know, like we meet these characters. We don't get a whole lot of backstory with them. They're just your average, you know, kids. We got the jock. We got the person who's like the geek, who's like the Randy character. It's a generic formula. It's the same formula as if you've seen the original Scream, you know where this is going. You know what this is about. But I was thoroughly entertained though. Like we do get some characters, even though they don't reference like, you know, Scream 2 and 3 and 4 and all that kind of stuff. We do get some characters like Judy Hicks. She comes back from Scream 4, which I thought was interesting. She's in here. And the original legacy characters, they don't play a huge role in this movie, even though all the Scream movies are the same. I've seen this before, but I was still thoroughly entertained. Like it still holds those surprise moments where, you know, it could be a jump scare, but then it's the killer, you know, and then it's like the killer is like peekaboo surprise, you know, popping out of nowhere, popping out behind doors and stuff, and you don't see it coming. So I thought that was entertaining, and there were a few suspenseful sequences within the movie. The scene that I love the most, though, and I'm not gonna spoil anything, but the scene that I love the most in this movie is the scene with Dewey in the hospital. It's in all the trailers. That is the best scene in the movie, I think, next to the ending of the film. I would say that there's a scene, there's a scene with Judy Hicks and her son. I thought that was really suspenseful. And then the scene with Dewey in the hospital was very entertaining. It was very suspenseful, very tense. And then the sequence at the end when, you know, everything comes full circle, I thought that was very entertaining. And the reveals of, you know, who's doing it, I thought it was a pretty lame excuse. You know, I thought there would be more, I don't know, I thought there would just be more meat and potatoes. This is pretty much just bare bones. This is like the bare bones minimum of who you could get as a killer in this movie. It was bare bones minimum. There wasn't really, because I was thinking all this stuff you can do, because there's some revelations in here. There's some things that happen where I'm just kind of like, really, you know, but then I'm like, it makes sense because then it could give more meat and potatoes to this story, which I think they're trying to do. But at the end, I feel like it just kind of, the ending, as entertaining as it is, it kind of falls flat. Because I'm like, the killer, you know, in this is just like, it's kind of lame. It's kind of lame. I'm just like, really? That's your reason for, like, doing this? Really? This is kind of lame. But other than that, I mean, overall, I thought this movie was a good movie. It was a good movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was entertaining. It was tense in some moments. I I wouldn't say I enjoyed the new characters. I mean, they're like I said, we don't really get a lot of backstory with them besides with the main character. But I've loved seeing the legacy characters because we know all about them. So yeah, there were a few suspenseful moments. There were a few tense scenes. There were a few surprises here and there. There were a few like, really, why are you doing this moments? And then the ending was entertaining, but it was just like, really, why? This is why they're doing this, you know? So I was just kind of let down by that. But overall, I mean, even though it's the same thing, it's all the screams, the same thing as the original, I still was thoroughly entertained. I was. This is a good movie if you're a Scream fans. Same shit, but it's entertaining, and that's all you really want from this, really. You know, that's all I really wanted, was just be entertaining, be fun, you know, be tense, be scary, and it was in certain moments, even though it's treading the same ground here.